All right, well, this is my development goals page of going over my Millennium Development Goals. I will be talking about in this section on the development goal of Goal 6. Before I talk about that, I'll talk about the previous places in which I have been able to live in and tell a little bit about that first. Uh, First off, I live in California, home inside Yucaipa. This is my home. It's pretty awesome because it's pretty sweet, of course. We have horses, very rural area, as you can see, not as many houses, more of field-like items, but we do have, it's a small town, so you can see plenty of the other surrounding areas that is more city-like, but it's very small. Off to the next place in which I lived is, hold on the other side of the world, we come to Wellington, New Zealand. Alright, so this is the mission office of where I had served my mission down inside New Zealand. I lived here for 2 years in different other places, but this is actually one of the locations in which I had stayed in. It's the office to the church building, and so it's very much tight cramped in some spaces, obviously, but it was a very nice experience for me. Now, after my uh, time being on the mission, I came home and eventually ended up inside single housing Rexburg, Idaho. Just for the fun of it, they got a little man here that shows off his skateboarding skills. But here's where I lived for 2 semesters, taking care of schoolwork and whatnot, and not having to deal with being too stinky or whatnot. We just boys hang out. But that all changes eventually as I shifted to being married and now more civilized. I would put more of a street view of this, but it's more of a, it fits to show where I actually live. This is my apartment over here, so it's a little hard to show where I actually live from street view. But it's a very nice place where I live with my wife, and love, and care so much. Now, inside this class, I have been adopted to the country of pause for a moment. Haiti. The city in which I have chosen to adopt myself in is Cap Haton. It's my new home. Very much a city-like place. We can see some of this by some of the areas. We find that it's much of a local, good-looking place. I chose it mainly because it's further away uh, from the earthquake that happened in 2010. That's more of towards Port-Prince, which is more down south, but we'll get further on down to that. Now, for the development goal of Goal 6, it talks about the combat of HIV and AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. For my area, we are going to talk about a certain area in Fort de Mock, Luckner. Port de Mock. Luckner is a person that we're going to be talking about. Now, inside this section, it tells us many of the things that I found, that about 1.8%, nearly 2% of the population has HIV and AIDS, which is roughly around 120,000 positive cases for Haitians. Through this whole entire section, it shares with us about the common cause of how dreadful it is about the HIV and how badly it spread throughout the area, especially during the 1950s, I believe it was, during the time of early, well, 1960s, here it is. During the time of the 1960s, there was a moment of where they asked for plasma and blood donations that could be spread, that it could be donated. And this is called a Hemo-Caribbean. And so all this blood and plasma that was needed was sent to the U.S., and that's also part of the reason why it's affected some of the U.S. But it's inside this area where we see Luckner right here. It talks about how he was a co-owner about this Hemo-Caribbean. Now, I don't really think they realized how much of a damage they were doing from these medical uses and whatnot, but they aren't really sanitary with their medical practices when it comes to needles, when it transfers from blood donations each time. Each time that this happened, each patient was basically passing it on to the next if the needle had been affected by previous people. We can see that this place was nicknamed the Vampire of the Caribbean, partially for the reason of just the blood donations. Funny little joke for you, how they would ask for the blood. So basically vampires. Alright, so as a next step, goodness, so many. We are looking into, hold on one moment, I'll grab what I got underneath all these. No, I don't want those. I wanted you. Alright, now this is one of the associations that is trying to help with the HIV, mainly towards affecting children. Their aim is to keep the spread from happening for the youth. 43% of the youth under 18, one of the youngest society in the world, this generation is facing major struggles and challenges because of this HIV epidemic and partially AIDS too. And so we see common causes of struggle and problems that are throughout Haiti. Now this organization that happens around here, they take place in being able to help the children, to educate them in sexual education, so that way they can be able to do things in free will. They want to be able to create equal gender equality so that it could be more respected towards what's given. So we take so that way women aren't abused and sexually assaulted or something close to that, because as a previous sections in section 4 of my goals, it talks about how sad of a problem that this is with the rape or abuse that goes around with this. And so children being educated and taken care of, and it's trying to keep the spread basically, and trying to be more sanitary with what they're doing. they're trying to do as much as they can. And so that is my development goal of goal 6, combat HIV and AIDS and other diseases. And we will talk to you later. Thanks.